Yo, 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 yo. What the fuck? We're actually live. We're actually live. No, I wasn't ready for this. I didn't know what this was like. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Joe Shmoe Network. Why is this shit on loop? I don't know. I'm not sure that. Okay. I don't know what the fuck's going on. What's up, guys? You already know this is your boy Joe Shmoe from the Morning Show with Joe and gang. And Joe is back with his gang. You know that? We got Fat Tony. Give it up for Fat Tony. Hey,
What's going on?
Fat.
How'd you squeeze that whole clapping audience into that room?
we got my boy Greg Kelly.
What up? What up?
What up, Greg Kelly? And then we got the bearable chicken. That should be fucking.
Yeah, boy, you like that avatar? You see me out here buying these dips?
I see you. What's going on, guys? What's going on?
Looking at pain. Looking at pain in the market.
A lot of blood in the streets. A lot of blood in the streets.
It is. But is it is the blood going to continue, or do we think we're going back up?
To be honest with you, I think the blood's going to continue. I think we've only seen the beginning of the Mount Gox issue. I think it's going to get a lot worse. Yeah. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts?
My question is, what do you think the main cause of this is? Why is there so much blood in the street? Some people are saying interest rates. Other people are saying what?
So with the interest rates, okay. So the unemployment data came in today, and it was actually higher than what was expected. So I think it came in as like a point higher than expected. So I think they were expecting 4, it came in at 4.1, and that could potentially lead to the Fed lowering rates. And if the Fed lowers rates, then it's going to be everybody going ham in the markets. So.
Hell yeah! Shit. Anybody else buying?
I'm about to. I mean, okay. So I'm really tempted to start unstaking from my yield farms, and then taking that stable coin and converting it over into like super chain stuff. So I don't know, but at the same time, I'm also like, are we going lower? You know?
Right. So for Tony, for those who don't know what staking is, what's staking, Tony?
So okay, so you have and I think Joe was trying to talk, but I couldn't hear what he was saying. So when you're just single-sided staking, it means that you are essentially either loaning out your asset, your liquidity, or you're using your liquidity for like validators. So certain validators would have voting power with your assets, and in return you earn rewards. If you're yield farming, you're taking one asset and pairing it up with another asset to create another asset of the combined two, and then you're also putting that into either like a pool, or you're lending it out, or things like that, and then you're collecting rewards in the process.
Oh, cool.
You know,
that was like the simplest way.
That whole concept, real quick, we're talking about staking, right? I mean,
right.
It's semantics, right? Like, you say rewards, I say you're taking a yield. And I think that as we start inching forward to this asset class actually taking shape from a legal perspective, right? I think that those definitions are going to have to be very, very clear and concise. And so me personally,
sure.
I've never actually, you know what I mean? And that's literally what I believe is going on right now. But yeah, I mean, eventually, I don't know how in the hell you're going to have, you know, the concept of staking in this asset class without certain assets that are actually being, you know, locked in for a time period. That's a form of an investment contract, right? So
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, all we're doing is what the banks have been doing for decades, you know? So, I mean, Bank A sends liquidity to Bank B and is receiving interest on what they're loaning out, or just the general people, right? So, banks are collecting interest on for their liquidity for you to go out and, well, I mean, if it wasn't like it actually is, where it's like not real money or anything, but like they're earning rewards for lending out that money, you know,
A
and
hundred,
and, and all
a
it
hundred
is we're
percent.
just so I mean we're just doing what the banks have been doing for decades, you know.
Yeah, the only difference is that you're not like federally chartered, right? And so like
Right.
you don't have to adhere to like the capital reserve requirements on deposits and what have you. You're not exposed to like the repo market mandates. But yeah, no, I understand exactly what you're saying. I guess my whole point is that sooner or later, right? They're going to rein in and provide clear, concise definitions because that's what we need for this asset class to come to fruition. And I wonder where staking, how they're going to, label that, what language they're going to use. That's my whole point.
I mean, they'll probably put it in a category of lending. So they might put it in a category of lending, or they also might put it in a category of like vote delegation. So using your stake or your liquidity as voting power for making things happen. Because I mean, if you think about it, like in like a stockholder situation, you know, people with the most stock get to make the votes as to what things are going to happen. So you might have an amendment for a company that comes up, and the board all collectively comes together and says, well, we need this much voting power to make something go through. And it could be the same type of scenario. It's just, retail investors or average people doing it. So, and I don't really see the need for like, federal charters when it comes to doing these things, when you can just collectively come together in a pool and then make these things happen, you know?
No, I'm with you, man. I know, and I appreciate that perspective, because I think that a market free of government oversight, where the competition itself decides the winners and losers here, right?
Yep.
I think that's what we need, and we need that supply and demand dynamics to play out in the marketplace. And so we're waiting. We're waiting.
Yeah, I mean, imagine what the economy would look like if retail investors like you and me got to keep all the rewards that these big conglomerates and these big banks get to take from us, you know?
Yeah, so I like the way this is going. Shout out to the 36 people. 36 people. I hate that I hear myself. Shout out to the 36 people that are here listening, here with us. I appreciate you guys a lot. Question: Mt. Gox begins repayments in Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. What do you guys think about that? I think we lost
Well,
that.
I think it's definitely reflecting the price action to the south, with BTC. I think that sell pressure is definitely starting to smash the support lines. I had this conversation with Greg about 63K, 62K being a battleground, in terms of price where it needed to hold. Didn't happen. So I think that moving forward, as they continue to dump these assets on the market, you got to look at it from the other perspective as well, to where you have other investment vehicles and other investment products, right? Like these Bitcoin ETFs. I mean, people are losing their ass, right, as this price goes down, because the initial entry point for those ETFs was like, I don't know, somewhere between 50 and 60. Uh, the institutions that are offering those ETFs are making fees. They're winning.
So question for you, as it relates to the ETFs, right? So at what point are they actually losing? Are they losing once they take out, or in the case of us purchasing crypto, right? We've been told we don't really lose money until we exit the market. So is that the case with ETFs as well, or can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, I would just say that it depends on whether or not you're in a leveraged position or not. And then if, like, for example, if you're in uh, a scenario where you entered the ETF at say 60,000, and once that actually the asset of the underlying asset drops below 60,000, you get liquidated on that margin, right?
Gotcha.
But if you're bought it out outright with your own capital as opposed to borrowing through leverage, you wouldn't lose unless you sell.
That makes
You'd
sense.
be,
Okay.
but you would be in a scenario where you'd be stuck holding the bag, right, until it comes back. Just like stocks, traditional equities.
All right, guys. Fat Tony, you back with us?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right, there we go. So, what are your thoughts on Mt. Gox? What are your views on that? It's Mt. Gox begins repayments of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. How do you think that's going to affect the markets?
I mean, over time, I think it probably will rebound. I don't think that. I don't know. They've been hyping this Mount Gox scenario for I mean, I know of the last 4 years because that's how long I've been in it, and they've been hyping the Mount Gox thing. So, I mean, now that it's actually happening, then you have on top of that with Germany dumping their Bitcoin, or I don't know if it was like their parliament, their government, but they dumped their Bitcoin at the same time. I don't know. I mean, I think we potentially stand to rebound. I know there's a lot of people putting shorts out on Bitcoin right now. And usually when a lot of people start putting shorts out on Bitcoin, it reverses and goes back up.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm over here trying to make sure everything is running good in the background. What the fuck is wrong with Biden? I'm going to pull you guys over here. I just seen this tweet. It said, breaking. Unconfirmed reports now indicate Joe Biden may have had a medical emergency on Air Force One. Do you guys really think he's going to make it to the election? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm going to go back to what Fat Tony was saying earlier. What is not?
Hey, Greg, we can't really hear you. You sound a little too low.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
A little bit better.
Okay. I'm going to go back to what Fat Tony was saying earlier. What's not wrong with Biden? I guess that's really the question. Is he going to make it to the election? I think there's going to be some kind of medical. I think they're going to use this some kind of medical emergency to get him off the ballot. So that's my thoughts anyway.
Now, my question is, who do you think his replacement is going to be?
There's a lot of speculation around that. Some people say Kamala Harris. I don't particularly know. I don't know who. I know Steve and I, Bearable Chicken, sorry, was talking about some of this. He had his own speculation. My bad.
It's all good, bro. I don't give a shit.
Now, I heard that possible Gavin Newsom takes that place. I'd be really pissed off if he did. Not that I care that much because I think Trump got this in the bag. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's what we thought last time.
I mean,
oh, is it me?
Yeah.
All right. So if Biden has a medical emergency, that means that Kamala is going to have to step up regardless because she is the vice president. So then before the election, she would have to appoint a new vice president until the election. And that would, most likely be Gavin Newsom, which God knows he is like the most like slimy looking thing. He looks like a used car salesman.
And that kind of makes sense just because of the fact that I believe that Kamala Harris wanted to leave the vice president position and actually run for governor of California again. So
no,
I got the hell out of California. I'll say that.
No, what they'll do. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. I said I got the hell out of California.
Smart man. So no, what'll happen is they'll so to keep her from running to be the president. So, once she fills that position, to keep her from saying, hey, look, I'm going to just continue to run and then I'll go against Trump, what they'll do is they'll probably offer her a position as like a Supreme Court justice or something like that.
I didn't see that coming.
Well, she was a DA in her state, right? So and she was horrible, dude. She oh my god, she would lock people up off of the dumbest things, like just minor drug possessions for maximum sentencing for minor drug possession.
Hey, that's when those private prisons are a big thing, huh?
Yep. That's exactly it. That's the reason why first-time offenders get such harsh penalties, is because they're trying to meet a quota when it comes to these private prison complex.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's what I always say. I know a lot of us are sports fans, right? And we pay attention to like statistics, right? Baseball on base percentage, slug percentage. You know what I'm saying, right? But that same logic needs to be applied to the attorneys, to the prosecutors, both on the defense side of things and on the prosecutorial side. They're tracking stats. That's all they're doing is tracking stats. And so at the end of the day, I think that the majority of these cases, they end up getting fucking basically shoveled through the system, only because these people are trying to pad statistics and not yield on the side of what's best for the citizens, right? For the constituency and the rule of law. They don't give a shit about the rule of law. It's all about stats.
Hey,
Turn your mic on.
Thank you, Tony. Everybody that's watching, check this out. I did a crash course, 2 days, figured all this out, and here we are. Excuse me if I mess up. I'm sorry. Yeah, so what else is flagging on the block? Man, it's been a while since we got together. Have you guys seen that token, that meme token that Keita and Melissa from Dipito? Shout out to Dipito. We support them big time. She actually gave me a lot of trade secrets on how to get this started up, and I appreciate you a lot, Melissa. What do you guys think about that meme coin they created called Shikaka?
Shakaka. 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 Shakaka.
Everybody kneel.
I don't know.
Everybody's got to
go
fucking kneel, dude. Anytime somebody says Shikaka, you got to get on one knee.
I'm gonna go buy my groceries with Shakaka, and then the lady behind the register, she just kneels in front of you.
Hey, sir, what are you paying with tonight? I think I'll use my Shikaka.
No, but you know what? I honestly think it's good that they're doing something. Because I think they're using Base to build the product. And I don't know if you guys know, but Base is one of the people that are partner with Coinbase, and Base is also part of the super chain with Optimism and all of this. So it's actually an ecosystem that's up and coming, making a lot of noise. And,
Yo, let me hold on real quick. Because while we're at it, what's the native asset? I remember reading about this and seeing some information on this. What do you guys got for me in terms of a native asset for Base?
So I don't think Base actually has a native asset. So I think it's just Base and then the assets that are on it. So like for instance, like how you have Solana, you have Solana token, and then you have all these Solana assets. I think when it's with Base, it is just Base. So I could be wrong saying that, but I'm pretty sure there's no asset tied to it as of yet.
That's interesting.
Muted mic.
Because I'm eating. That's all. Some fried rice over here. Before this.
I'm over here like the microphone police.
I know.
I wanted to touch a little bit on the Shikaka coin. From my understanding, the little research I've
done. Yo, Greg.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know if it's me, Can you guys hear Greg? Good.
I mean, I can hear
Yo.
Greg fine.
Yeah. He's not bad. Not bad.
All right, go ahead, Greg.
That's good. Hey, that's because you eat, bro. You eat. You can't. You gotta stop smacking so loud.
Go ahead.
You gotta stop smacking so loud, bro. Nah, just fucking with you. Shit. No, but can you hear me now, Joe?
I hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, this is our fucking commercial and shit. But I was just gonna say, from my understanding, from the little research I've done, which I have to do more with the Chicago coin, the what they're doing is good, right? Their intentions behind the coin is definitely good. They want to do some good things in the community. And we used to hold spaces back in the day, Joe. You know this, and
Absolutely, morning show with Joe and Gang. Go ahead, man.
yeah. But I was big on that. I'm very community driven, right? So I do like what they're trying to do for the community. So it's definitely definitely different from anything else that I've seen out there. I'll just say that.
Absolutely. So I do have a. Oh wait, we lost somebody. We lost Variable Chicken. Oh man.
So I think it's like the further we go down this road, you'll start to see like more of the implementation of KYC, AML, DID, stuff like that. So when people are and this is the thing, I don't know if necessarily you're going to see like, I think that you'll see a time when all of these meme tokens and all of these tokens that really don't do anything, especially ones that are just pump and dump scams, they just disappear. But I don't think in the future we're going to be at this point where you couldn't personally make your own meme token or your own token and have liquidity into it, because with KYC and AML and DID behind it, it's not like you can just rug pull and disappear into the background. So these things will be traced back to you, and I don't know if there'll be like a blockchain credit score of sorts, see if you're a trustworthy individual. But I think in the future that if you wanted to create a token to go towards a cause and actually be able to create value or create liquidity within that token to go towards something good, I think that that's a potential could happen in the future.
Well said.
But as far as like Jason Derulo token where it just rugs on you, like I don't think that's going to be a thing. So
no, I think it's don't you guys think it's really crazy that I think who was it? It was the I was about to say faggot. Oh, I said faggot. My bad. The gay guy, Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
I think ever since him or her or it, whatever. Ever since they, we don't know how to list of pronouns, man. But ever since that person came out with their meme coin, I feel like there's more celebrities coming out with meme coin. You had the Zach coin, which Fish was pumping a lot. Fish, if you're in here, shout out to you, Fish. You had Zach token. You had the Jason Derulo coin.
You had Mother, that was Iggy Azalea.
Iggy Azalea, Mother. Yeah, and everybody promises not to rug and diamond heads, and everybody fucking rugs.
But that's literally that is the motto of every Solana token is like, trust me, bro, I'm not gonna rug, and then it just rugs. So like that's every Solana. Well, it's not every Solana token, but I mean, it's a good majority of these Solana tokens. I mean, you can go on like Dex Screener and see. God knows, man. You could just watch them rug in real time. I mean, like I watched ones where you got to get in and then stay in for 5 minutes, get out because it's getting ready to rug, And I mean, they just pulled the liquidity out from underneath it.
No, absolutely. Damn, I'm trying to get Variable Chicken back up here. He's not joining. I don't know what's going on. What else to put him in? Variable Chicken. ¿Dónde está Pollito? I don't know, man. So what else you been working with? I got a question. Is it optimism?
It's optimism.
Optimism. What's going on with optimism, man?
I mean, building just like everything else. I mean, it's with optimism. You have
actually, because I know it's part of the super chain, but tell me about the super chain.
so the super chain is a collective of L2s, so layer twos that work directly with Ethereum for adding scalability, cost effective. Like this is the biggest thing. It makes transactions on Ethereum cheap, right? So I mean, everything on Ethereum is stupid expensive. So you buy an NFT, it costs you like $50 just to get your NFT, and that's like without doing it in peak time when everybody else is on there. So it makes the process of buying something cheap. It also makes it quicker and it adds scalability. So you have what is Zora? So Zora is dealing a lot with NFTs. You have God, what do you have? You have Velodrone. Okay, so you have Optimism, Zora, Velodrone. You have Metal L2. You have
I actually got some Velodrone.
yeah, I actually got my mom to get some earlier. So, and funny enough, there's actually a congressman. So with all the portfolio trackers of like these, the congressmen and congresswomen, like the Nancy Pelosi portfolio tracker, where people are just trading along with Nancy's portfolio. There's one congressman that actually aped into Velodrome. So he did that, I want to say last week or the week before last. So I was like, well, I definitely want to make sure I have somebody in my family that got some velodrome. So I got my mom to do it. So
yeah, I'm actually looking right now. For the congressman, I had that shit right here. I'm trying to look to see exactly what congressman buys. Oh, U.S. Representative Mike Collins, U.S. Representative.
yep,
Mike
that's him.
Actually, I'm gonna bring it up right here.
And if you look at I don't know this, but I would just go out on a limb and say that he is either in some type of committee that handles with things that are going to be dealing with blockchain or digital assets, or he is in some type of finance committee.
There we go. U.S. Representative buys
Who are you talking about? Are you talking about Davidson?
No, Mike Collins.
It's right here on the screen. I don't know if
it's kind of small.
You.
I don't know how to make this bigger.
Yeah, Joe. Some of us are on cell phones. We can't see that.
That makes a lot of sense.
And some of us are like 50-some years old.
Boom. Does that work?
Yeah, that's better.
There we go. Look at that. We're learning, Like I said, guys, as time goes on, we'll learn this a little bit better. We'll be a lot better. This is the first stream. And so far, so good. We got about 80 people in here. Shout out to the 80 people in here showing us love. Oh, we're up at 82. That's good. We have... All right, and for those of you that are on YouTube, just remember, we are streaming on YouTube and X. So we see a combination of all the numbers of people watching. Because some people might be like, there ain't 80 people in here. It's like, no, we have combined streams. And with YouTube and X, you don't even know that. So what else is shaking on the butt? What's going on?
Well, so the other thing I wanted to say about Velodrome is that I believe that what it's going to be is a liquidity provider, but it only has a market cap of like $100 million. So it's super low cap, in compared to a lot of things that are out there. And it's very odd that he decided to go in to this asset at this market cap, right? So I would just keep an eye on it. Like I would just keep an eye out on Velodrome.
Where do you get where do you get that from?
You can get it on Coinbase. Guys, I'm gonna let you guys know. Everybody who's watching, I got a lot of haters, especially on Twitter. Haters.
You sound grainy.
I sound grainy?
Yeah, it sounds like static in the background.
Oh, that's my fan. Hold on. Let me turn this down.
You got one.
Does it sound better? A little bit better?
Still hear it. Yeah.
Fuck me. I don't know. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I said, are those Cuban cigars he has in his mouth?
No, these are Connecticut cigars.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Fat Tony.
Oh no. I was just gonna say I'm not telling people to go out and buy Velodrome, but I'm just saying like watch it, like keep an eye on it because man, dude, anytime you see these congressmen or congress people in these political seats, like when you start seeing them buying into something, like it's just definitely something to watch. Like I'll put it to you this way: I was watching what Majority Taylor Greene was doing, and she was buying Lockheed Martin stock like 2 months before the Ukraine incident stuff started happening.
Okay, educate me. Lockheed Martin. I'm a little lost. What's that?
Oh, that's a military munitions or defense contractor. Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
Specifically planes.
Right. Yeah, she was buying stock in Lockheed Martin like 2 months before the whole Ukraine thing happened. So they insider trade. You know, I mean, that's not like it's very well known to the point where people now create tracking portfolios that follow their trades, and people are making bank because they're trading alongside Nancy Pelosi. Right. So, for instance, if you saw a big sell from Nancy Pelosi on Nvidia stock, you would probably want to go ahead and start bracing for impact, you know?
Now, I got a question. Do you think they're ever gonna stop that?
Yeah, eventually. So,
Well,
go ahead.
I was just gonna add, yeah, I think that to answer your question, Joe, I think that at some point with the concept of a digital footprint, whether it's a blockchain or any type of DAG technology, the data is there, and so I think that ultimately it kind of reflects the pushback and the delay of this asset class achieving wide scale adoption is because the current existing market provides a certain level of ambiguity that allows these motherfuckers to do what they're doing. Insider trade.
Yeah, I can see that. I just wish I worked with Congress. I wish I could be rich like that. You know, I mean,
Well, then run.
yo, I don't fucking run. Have you seen me? I don't run.
Neither do they. I'm just saying, run for Congress, run for a seat. Go up against Dan Crenshaw. You're in his area now. Yeah.
I actually found something out. Have you guys heard of Texas Blockchain Council?
Yes. No. Yeah, I've heard of it.
What do you know about that, Texas?
I know that they charge $500 to go to their event. I thought that was just kind of retarded for a couple-day event. I think it's down in Houston, to be honest with you. But yeah, they're the outfit that's kind of trying to bring this Texas stock exchange into fruition. And what little research that I have done into it, and it's very, very little, but I know for a fact that they're going to utilize blockchain. And then when you start talking about blockchain and you start talking about the concept of real-time gross settlement and the transfer of value instantaneously, settling, derivatives and settling stock trades, which they take days now to settle and clear. It's a serious threat, I think, to the existing Wall Street and all that stuff. I think maybe perhaps it'll go out of Austin. Joe, even when Greg was in here, he would be able to tell you Dallas, Austin, those areas are booming economically, right? So something to be said about that.
Especially Austin. I think Austin is like the hub for future tech. I know you guys know who Crypto T is. I know T's been in Austin a couple times already doing work there. I think they just had consensus out there in Austin as well. Austin is really becoming that epicenter of cryptocurrency, and crypto technology, AI technology, just a lot of shit. I think I heard something about 2025. They're going to be starting. BlackRock and Citadel is going to be starting their exchange out here.
Yeah. No, that's the money behind it, right? The capital behind that is definitely BlackRock and your boy Ken Griffin over at Citadel Securities.
My my
You
my
know,
thing my thing is this is something new, and I think it's really crazy how they will be challenging the New York Stock Exchange. How do you think that? How do you guys think that's going to work?
okay, so Tony, I'll throw my thoughts out there real quick, right? When you talk about leveraging blockchain as it pertains to settlement, right, of these transactions, um, that's where I think it's a game changer, and I think that's where it's a threat because ultimately the velocity of trading would be far, far, far superior towards what's in place now in the New York Stock Exchange or the CBOE. Like these are like old school, legacy trading, platforms that are attached to the legacy banking infrastructure. We know that those transactions don't clear instantaneously, whereas a Texas blockchain blockchain based exchange could feature real time gross settlement of these transactions.
Well, hold on 1 second. Did they publicly say that it would be an exchange ran on blockchain? Or is that just an assumption based on speculation?
I'm pretty certain that it was going to be on a blockchain. That was the whole point.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
but
it would
definitely
definitely make sense. I mean,
but definitely challenge that too, right? Like do your diligence, people, do your research. I mean, I want to be able to cite some sources here, but I can't do it at the moment. I'm in the middle of getting ready to eat dinner and what have you. But yeah, I'm almost certain that's what we're looking at here, Joe.
no, absolutely. Fat Tony, you got any words on this?
I mean, I think one of the biggest selling points for getting the stock exchange over into this type of ecosystem is the fact that you're trading 24/7, 7 days a week. You're not just trading for 5 days a week off on holidays, and the doors open at what, 10 o'clock in the morning and close at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so, or 5 o'clock in the evening. So I think that would be another big selling point. The other really positive thing about it is that if it did go over to a blockchain, is that you would have methods of accountability. So you wouldn't have the situation that happened with GameStop where you had these people that were trading on stocks that didn't even exist. So they were trading on shares that didn't exist and
Naked
shorting on it.
shorts. Yep,
Yeah,
naked shortings.
you couldn't do that here. Like I mean, I guess you could, but I mean, it's easily traceable compared to trying to find where missing or non-existent short sales are when it comes to, and funny enough, Citadel is very guilty of all of that. So all of their hedge funds that are under Citadel were the ones that were doing those naked shorts.
Melvin Capital.
Robin Hood.
Yeah,
I mean,
Vlad got his money out of that whole thing for sure. And they had the button.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, you know what? Let's just halt trading. Let's just halt it.
Hey, let's take shares. Let's take shares out of people's accounts, sell them on their behalf, and then send them a notice saying that we did you a solid and we got rid of your GameStop shares.
It's fucking beautiful.
Yo, all right. So the other day, me and Fat Tony had a really good conversation. The housing market. What do you guys? I already got Fat Tony's opinion. I want to hear Belba Chicken. What do you think is the future of the housing market?
I think that's a great question, and having a background in this asset class, right, from a residential lending perspective, I I see a couple of patterns like forming here that remind me of like 2004, 2005, 2006 when the banks were getting creative, writing these subprime loans.
Super creative.
I think they're gonna continue to get creative, and it's because of the fact that the current, in my opinion, the correspondent banking model. I think that whole industry is evolving, and I think that the biggest problem that they're facing is the fact that you're speeding up the velocity of these transactions. And so, as it pertains to the housing market, I most certainly believe that there is a bubble out there. A I wouldn't say like a subprime bubble, because fact of the matter is that the banks basically just quit writing subprime loans, and made it really, really hard for subprime borrowers to actually get funding. They made the underwriting guidelines harder. They required higher down payments. They tightened up the private mortgage insurance premiums for the borrower to protect themselves, well, protect the banks from borrowers actually defaulting on those notes. I think that moving forward, Joe, to be specific, I think that there's a bubble there in the housing market. We know that it exists in the commercial real estate market, where the vacancies are retarded. They're approaching all-time highs. And so at this point, all of these commercial real estate asset managers are starting to rethink the actual utility behind the commercial real estate. They're switching from office settings over to like mixed use properties where you have half of a building is commercial office, and the upper half is going to be residential. They're getting really, really creative. The problem is that because there's a bubble in place where people are most definitely underwater, in their mortgages and the value of their real estate. At a certain point, the banks are going to have to find a way, in my opinion, in order to create a backstop from another like foreclosure crisis. I don't think they're going to be able to. So I think that when that does start to happen, you'll see the interest rates for the 30-year mortgage, the 15-year mortgage. I think that when they start to drop, I think the people that are in position will be able to refinance out of a lot of debt. But you're going to have to be in it for the long haul, because I think there's a correction coming to the housing market.
Ooh.
I think that we're going to have to, repeat essentially what's happened in 2008 when that bubble finally burst. I really believe that. And a lot of it is because people just aren't going to fucking pay their bills. They'll just file bankruptcy. It's easier.
Fat Tony, I know you was along kind of on that train. I don't know if you want to explain yourself. I kind of agree with both of you guys' perspective due to the fact that I've heard Fat Tony before. Fat Tony, you got something to say?
Yeah, I was listening. So, I totally agree with what everything Chicken was saying, but man, okay, there's so many factors. Like, okay, so one, you have hedge funds that are buying up all of this real estate, right? And now you've got a few hedge funds that are starting to unload some that are on their books, which to me feels like an indicator that we're getting ready to come up into some trouble or troubling times when it comes to real estate. The other thing is that MLS is not accurately reporting home sales, right? So you have now home builders that are selling directly to to the consumer versus going through the whole process of reporting it, going through agents and things like that. So when you have people that are buying directly from the builder, and if they default, like, so they miss like 2 months, they could be evicted out of that house, and that house could be resold again. So I think there's a lot of inaccuracies going on with MLS. I think that with hedge funds holding a good majority of these houses that are out on the market, and especially with the hedge funds holding a lot of these properties, it's giving home builders the impression, or just people in general, the impression that there's a housing shortage. And then when you take into account the fact that our population is declining and there's a housing shortage, like, what happened to all of these old houses that everybody lived in if we're not if our population is not increasing? It's just people are migrating from one place to the next. So everybody left California, came to Austin, and now, like, there's a lot of homes going up for sale in Texas and Florida, and people are finding that there's no buyers for these homes because the interest rates are too high. So nobody can afford to buy the house. People are stuck in their current houses. They can't get out of them because they can't afford to buy a different house, even if they sell and make a profit off of their current one.
That's some good insight.
Man, let me engage that, because Tony, you hit a lot of good points, man. And I think that I can piggyback off of a couple of them and give you my perspective on it. So number one, as it pertains to these hedge funds, right, buying up real estate, I'm with you on that. But see, what they're also able to do is they're able to take losses, right? I mean, every corporation is going to throw up, P&L statements every single year, and so they could take a loss in the short term on the housing market, and manipulate the tax exposure from that angle, and then boom, go ahead and sell them. So I'm with you on that for sure. I think that there's some issues there, but ultimately, what I'm seeing, and based on what we're talking about here in this discussion, is that they have like all of the choke points. They're able to squeeze them, because the reality is that the only reason why these people that are in their homes got good credit, they pay their bills, but they can't do anything, they can't refinance, is because the banks are tightening up the underwriting guidelines so they can control both ends of the market. It's going to be really interesting to see how all this shit fucking plays out, because my immediate suspicion is that what they'll do is they open up the subprime market and they say, you know what, fuck it. Just like these ETFs for Bitcoin, they want to collect fees. So they'll open up the market, right? And they'll start lending to people with, 575 credit scores again. And, as long as you can bring in your W-2 that shows you've been employed for, 2-3 years, and your debt ratio is below 45%, we will definitely lend to you. I mean, hell, we'll even extend it to 125% of the equity, as long as you have the right income documentation to support the exposure that we're going to, impose on ourselves by lending you this money or this capital at a stupid interest rate. The fees, right, is what they're going to be after again. And then they'll do the same shit all over again. They're going to package those fucking loans up, shitty ass loans, mix them in with conforming loans, with cream of the crop borrowers loans, and they'll sell them as mortgage-backed fucking securities. They're going to do it all over again. So I believe that because we've been around for quite some time and witnessed these types of cycles play out, I think that now is the time to be positioning yourself, right, to deploy capital, so that when the housing market does crash, when the equities market crashes, or what have you, where we have a game plan, because we've already talked about strategy.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. No, it's crazy. It's like you have these hedge funds that are treating real estate like stocks now, squeezing you out, like pull you in, rob you, squeeze you out.
Yeah, it's bad. I also know there's a lot of people buying houses right now, and they're currently getting stuck with these houses, man. It's really fucked up, man.
I'll tell you what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of builders building out subdivisions on their own and then leasing them fuckers out. You know, 2,000-3,000 a month a pop,
Yep.
and they're getting it on a contractual basis to where they're setting things up where it's almost like what do they call that? Well, it's essentially it's a lease.
It's you own everything, you don't own shit.
It's a lease option purchase, right? Where like you'll put down, say 10% of the property value. There's like, here's my deposit. I've got 10% and then I'm going to lease it. And then after the 2 years on my lease is up, at the end of the 24 months, I reserve the right to purchase the house before you can lease it to somebody else. That's a lease option purchase.
Well, you know what's going on now? Right now,
Different from land contract. My bad, Joe. That's what I was trying to think of.
Right now, what? Okay, you guys hear me? I'm gonna take this out because this is annoying. Right now, what I'm seeing right now in the housing market is really shitty. I know some people that are currently getting into homes, and what's happening? They're purchasing these homes. I know there's one guy. He's enlisted in the army. He has to relocate, and it's so hard to sell the current home that he has because he's competing with the new builders, with new buildings that are being built around his house. And I think both of you guys are right. I think we're due for correction. I think property is going to be there's going to be a collapse in the market. It's going to get to a point where, because me and my girl were looking for a place, we're looking for a house, we're looking for property, and I seen a 4-acre piece of land. It had a pond. The house is a little bit of a fixer-upper, but I think the property was going for like maybe $85,000 to $100,000. FHA, you put 3.5% down. It's really nothing. And you look at that, you go, shit, that's a lot of land for that little bit of money. And it's just, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean,
my bad. Go ahead, Tony. My bad.
No. You're good. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think that those opportunities, like what Joe's making reference to, I think that they exist now, and they will continue to exist, but you're going to have to really do the work.
No, I personally believe that it's going to be temporarily. I think the reason why that those are going for so cheap because you got the new developments that are going up that are valued really low. So you could buy or value that what a 4-acre property would be. So, for example, you could buy a new construction build out here in Texas, anywhere from a small one like the single homes from 150,000 all the way to 350,000. You get something really, really nice. And I think because you have those rickety properties competing with new builds that are going for an average amount, it's straining the market on those older properties. And I think it's going to come a point in time where they're going to stop building the new builds. And I think those new builds will go down in value, and the older builds that actually have land, that you have something, those are going to level out the market. I think eventually those will out.
So let's have a conversation about how these values are going to be determined. Okay, I'm not talking about an assessment value. I'm talking about a purchase value. Your home, your assets are only worth as much as someone's willing to pay. That's number one. Number two, as it pertains to real estate, right? Like, it's really hard to compare a new built home or a new construction home versus an old home that's been in the neighborhood for 50, 100 years. You really can't compare those two. So what happens is anytime a house is put up for sale, you have an appraisal done, right? And that appraiser will literally have to find sales that have already occurred within the last 6 months or the last 180 days that reflect the value of the home in question or that's getting ready to be sold. So that appraiser needs to find what they refer to as comps or comparable sales to support that value. You're only going to get comps for homes that have the same square footage, the same parcel size, the same general build, right? Brick home, 3-story, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. That house is going to match up with a house that has the same specifications as the house that's for sale. That's how they determine values, Joe. Now, would I agree that an older home could be a hindrance on the appreciation of other homes that are newer built, new construction homes? Absolutely, I agree. But in the bigger schemes of things, that effect is very, very minimal.
I was reading text.
No, you're all good, bro. I'm just saying it's the value game isn't all cut and dry like that. Those houses aren't doing nothing to those values for the new construction homes. It's not happening.
All right. So I got a question. How do we start next week? I mean, you see what's going on with Biden. I don't know. There's a lot of bullshit going on with Biden. Markets are looking a little bit scary. Do you think it goes through the weekend? Crypto market keeps crashing, or come Monday we hit bottom and we start pumping up? What do you guys think is coming?
I mean, it really varies on just what's going to happen. So, I mean, God, there's no way to tell because every week is always just some new big giant thing. So, I mean, Joe Biden might be incapable of, oh my God, I can't even believe I'm saying this, not capable of running the country. And then you have Kamala step up. So like, what does the market look like with Kamala as the president? That kind of thing. So who knows?
Is that the black swan event?
Oh my God.
Ooh.
You know what I think the black swan event is that Taylor Swift loses her voice and it causes a major dent in the economy and everything falls apart. Ticket sales of Taylor Swift make up a part of our economy, like our GDP. Taylor Swift concert.
That's crazy, bro. That's really sad.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, dude, she is the tail end of like our society. Like, dude, she is the very end of it. Like, there's nothing else. I mean, when Haktua becomes bigger than Pride Month, I mean, dude, you're at the tail end of society. Like, bro, you hardly heard anything. You hardly heard anything about Pride Month because of Haktua.
That's a good point. Fucking gays are mad.
I'm telling you.
I don't love gays. I accept all people of all kinds.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not saying it as like a negative thing. I'm literally just saying that if you go back to last year, everything in the month of June was gay pride. Whatever, doesn't matter. Literally, it all got outshadowed by some girl going Haktua, spit on that thing. That was it. That's what did it. I'm just saying that we are at the tail end of our society. I'm watching. You can see it because you could see the growth coming from other societies or other countries.
I'm sorry, Tony.
It's okay. It's okay.
My dude, you're spot on. I'm just saying, like, where is the fucking bottom, bro? Is this it? Is this the bottom? Are we like going to rebound as a fucking society, or like, are we going to have to deal with fucking rainbows for fucking 6-10 more years? I can't. Where are we at, bro? Is there a chart?
I don't know exactly how our society rebounds. So this is, oh my God, this is okay. So when it comes to society culture, this is right up my alley. So you have okay. So here's your biggest hurdle. How are you going to get men and women together again? Because they have never been as far apart as they are right now. So one, you have women with expectations that are not realistic anymore, matched with men that are just fed up and done. right? So you started off 10 years ago with like MGTOW movement, so men going their own way. You had that form about 10 years ago. And then when you started going into social media like TikTok, especially with TikTok, you started developing these unrealistic standards that women have. So no offense to big gals, but you got a 300-pound woman that says, I need a man that's 6 foot tall, has a six pack abs, and makes six figures a year. Like, those are not realistic goals for you, you know? And that's not realistic goals for 95% of the people that are out there. So what you have...
Only 95? I mean,
Well,
I think
yeah,
that OnlyFans has a part to play in this as well. Like the decay of society. Jesus, dude.
Oh, for sure.
Come on.
Well, so, and here's the funny thing is that, like, what happens to these OnlyFans girls when you have a society that is, so, for instance, when guys were making tons of money because there was tons of money to be made, but they're not making that money anymore, and they can't go and waste it on their favorite OnlyFans girl anymore, right? So she's been doing this for 2 years, 3 years she's been doing this, and now her fan base is dropping off. And now she's not able to make the income that she was able to make because her OnlyFans, members can't afford to pay her anymore. How does she migrate back into society when she's been doing this the whole time, right? So you couldn't be a school teacher. Like, you couldn't be like, well, I quit my job as a school teacher to become an OnlyFans model, but now I want to go back into doing schooling. But you can't, because now your class, your students can go and find your OnlyFans, So you have this whole giant group of people that are out there now that can't successfully migrate back into the working world, nor would they probably want to when they were blowing like, $5,000 or $10,000 a month, and now they have to settle for making like $2,700 or $2,800 a month. You know what I mean?
No, totally. In full disclosure, Tony, if you called me and said, hey, me and Joe are going to night school because there's this OnlyFans teacher that's going to be teaching a class, I don't care what subject it is. I'm fucking there, bro. I'm registered.
Oh, did you guys hear about that teacher that just got locked up a couple days ago?
Bro, there's a lot of them. There are a lot of them.
My thing is, if I was a student, I'm not snitching.
Yeah, you're not snitching, but you're telling other people. Okay, so
let's talk about this, bro. Because you're not snitching until you're 15 with the baby, and that bitch is 35.
I dare her to put me on child support at the age of 15. That's not happening. Put me on child support. You going to jail?
No, you know what happens? No, you're 15. She gets locked up for 5 years. When she gets out and has the baby, then she comes after you for child support. But I know you're saying, you're like, hey, I'm not snitching, but you're gonna tell somebody, right? You're gonna tell your best friend, and then because you're in high school. You're in high school and you're telling your best friend, and then your best friend's gonna tell everybody. And by the end of the week, everybody in the whole entire school knows that Joe Shmoe and teacher, Miss Sanchez, she's over there, you got it going on. And then it's going to go straight to the parents. Like, dude, you're only going to have to find one person that goes to that school that hates your guts, and they're going to be straight up going to your parents and be like, Joe Schmo is banging out Miss Sanchez.
Oh, my God. All right, give me 1 second.
It'd be like Donnie Burger all over again.
I never heard of that. That's some old shit.
Nah, bro, it's a movie. Check it out, bro. It's a great movie. It's an Adam Sandler flick. And that fucking idiot, what's his name? Andy
Steve Buscemi? Andy Schumer?
No, Andy Sandberg.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's called That's My Boy. That's the movie. Joe, watch that movie. It's fucking hilarious.
Never heard of it. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Man, as far as, dude, I'm going to tell you, man, there are so many, God knows, like, there are so many variables when it comes to our society that's just like, I don't know how we overcome these. It's crazy. So the other thing is too is that you notice that we're now bringing manufacturing back to the US. Well, who's going to do it? Like this whole upcoming generation, they don't want to work, right? So what's going to be the incentive to get them to work? They barely know
Bro,
how to. They don't even know how to change a light bulb. They're definitely not going to know how to work on an assembly line.
yeah, robots, bro. Automation.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, like, where does that put them? You know, because I mean, your
I'll tell you
parents are
where
only
it
going to
puts
live
them.
for so long.
It puts them at UBI, bro. I mean, and then fucking hard, tax paying Americans who work hard are gonna end up fucking picking up the tab for these fuckers. This is like gonna go on for fucking decades, bro. Decades. I mean,
Yeah, but
it's like this whole pride thing. Like, okay, if the shit really hits the fan, T, who's gonna fucking pick up the rifle? These fucking sprites aren't gonna fucking do it, bro. You know that.
yeah, but I mean, but the thing is that we're already coming to like a crossroads when it comes to taxation as it is. I mean, you've got people. I mean, God knows that's one of the biggest topics on Twitter or X is that people are done. People are tired of paying taxes. They don't want to pay taxes. I mean, like you look at the increase in property taxes over the past 15 years. I mean, dude, 15 years ago you could afford to pay your property taxes. Like now, I mean, God, if you have a house in Austin, Texas, you're paying what, $7,000 a month just in property taxes? I mean, that's ridiculous.
The fuck out of here. 7 grand a month.
Dude, I got a friend that lives in Texas. He said that his taxes were a little over 7 grand a year.
Ah, a year. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
So
sorry, I
yeah,
didn't know. Yeah, yeah, no. No, I
I
think
was
I think
like,
his yeah, I think his was like $800 or $900 a month, right?
I was like,
For
yeah. No, that makes sense, man. It's 3,600 a half. You know what I mean? Or
right,
3,500 a half. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like par for the course is 350,000 or better type community
right,
for residential, properties. You
right.
know,
But the thing is that you're paying a tax on something that you own yearly, right? So it doesn't matter if the property goes up or down because they don't change the valuation on your property tax, right? So they only revalue your property tax like what is it, like every 5 years or every
all
seven
right. So
years?
so let me speak on this because
Yeah, go for it.
I have like a direct line to somebody well, it's my sister, was an auditor of a county in Ohio. And so you would be correct. They don't revisit property values or, evaluate properties to establish a tax on said parcel and you know what I mean, the real estate attached to the parcel. They don't do it annually. They do it every couple of years. But I also know that, and I'm sure you're familiar with this term, GIS, right? The global information systems where you're able to like pull up the data on real estate and you can pull up like public record and chain a title for free. Anybody can do this, by the way. Um, when that type of capability came to real estate in the early 2000s, I'm like, man, it's just a matter of time before everything becomes digitized. And then as I got into this asset class and I understand, the capabilities of what blockchain can do, not just for payments, but for treasury management, for real estate, and a dozen other use cases just I could think of right offhand. Um, it occurred to me that blockchain is coming to real estate. And so when that happens, I think that the data will become a lot tighter, a lot more accurate because of the fact that the velocity of that information will have been sped up. if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, and I mean, and honestly, it already has. I mean, shout out to Ubiquity if they ever hear this, but I mean, they're already digitizing home titles. Like they're already doing that. So, but the thing is for me is that you're already paying your income tax. You're already paying your tax on your home, your land. You're paying your tax on your vehicle. You're paying your tax on sales tax. You're paying. I mean, you're paying taxes on crypto that you're buying and making a gain off of. Like the second you sell it, you're getting that. You're paying that in taxes. Like you're paying so much. I mean, like we're just going to come to a crossroads where people are just not going to have it anymore. Especially when 90% of these tax laws are not even I mean, and I hate to be that guy that everybody kind of rolls their eyes at, but I mean, 90% of these tax laws are not constitutional. I mean, you could get by with a sales tax, but when you're talking about taxing people for their property, that is not constitutional. Like, there's a lot of things that are not constitutional. Which now that you have that whole Chevron case that which got ruled on by the Supreme Court, that might have a lot to do with the IRS as well.
It's huge. I think it's freaking huge. The implications are huge.
I think it's hilarious that the libs are like, now the EPA is not going to be able to enforce the laws. And you're like, the EPA never forced any laws to begin with. They only came in the tail end after you already did all the damage and said, hey, pay us some money so we'll go away.
Okay, so
Facts.
for the people that are watching, do you guys know what it is? I don't know how to explain it. I'm the host. I ask the questions. What is Chevron?
So Chevron was it was a law that was passed that gave authority to non-elected officials to create laws that were not constitutional to enforce things. So basically, for instance, like you elect your congressmen, you elect your senators, right? But within these three-letter agencies, so let's just say the EPA. So you could have the director of the EPA that could have been in the EPA for the past 40, 50 years. That's just his job. Like you would just go to your regular job. That was his, and they could create laws that were not passed by Congress, that were not passed by the Senate, that like no judiciary branch had any ruling over. They create these laws and they enforce them, and they come after you. So, for instance, like there doesn't have to be a law that was passed by the EPA that went through the Senate or Congress for enforcement that came after the individual that they deemed were breaking this law. Right. So a lot of people, they get up in arms saying that, now the EPA is not going to be able to enforce anything because they've been stripped of their power. And in my mind, I'm going, well, good, because we had one of, I live in North Carolina. So we have one of the biggest we had one of the biggest ecological disasters happen in our state on the Dan River. And what it was, you had these coal ash plants that were burning all of this coal ash, and they kept them in these giant pits or reservoirs, right? It was just dry coal ash, and these were open pits. And what happened was one of the barrier walls came out because of a flood, and it went into the Dan River and created one of the largest polluting incidents in the U.S., especially on the eastern side in history. And the EPA was nowhere to be found. The governor of North Carolina at the time, Pat McCrory, he fined the energy company that he used to be an employee of. He fined them like $700,000 for one of the largest environmental damaging events that has happened on the East Coast.
And let me expand on that, right? On the Chevron doctrine. Okay, so basically, to again piggyback off of what Tony was saying, you can't have a three-letter agency of officials that were not elected but rather appointed pursue enforcement actions and then resolve those enforcement actions in-house without giving the plaintiff an opportunity to a jury trial. And that is freaking huge. So I just wanted to point that out, that is also, piggybacking off of what Tony had said. But the reality is this: whether it's the EPA, the SEC, any of these three-letter agencies, ATF, FBI, this and that, like, they've always had it in to their advantage, to where they literally write the laws and then they handle the enforcement on their own, and they bring them to the court on their own. And the plaintiffs, or the people that they're charging with these enforcement actions, never have an opportunity or a right to a jury trial of their peers. That was some huge language that came out of that ruling.
That's crazy. So what happens to all the people who pretty much were charged of whatever? And so, okay. So what you're saying is, so for example, like the DMV, you get a ticket, right? You don't get a right to trial, correct?
I mean, I think that in that particular instance, if you got a ticket, it, it would be like a state jurisdiction level. But yeah, you could definitely contest your ticket in court and set up a trial date if that's what you wanted to do. Whether or not it's actually a jury trial or not, it's a whole separate matter. But
Okay.
but the DMV, for example, wouldn't, like, the Chevron doctrine does not pertain to local state jurisdictions. It's a federal level,
Hmm.
right? Like the EPA, like the FBI, like the
Or the
ATF, like
CDC.
the CDC, the SEC. All that's a federal level, meaning they cover the entire country.
I'll do more research on this stuff. Yo, guys, we've been running for an hour and 17. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. This has been an amazing space. Shout out to Greg Kelly, who was here earlier, Fat Tony, Bearable Chicken. Make sure you go follow these guys on X. We stream majority on X. We will be streaming weekly. We're gonna have multiple shows. You can count on Fat Tony to be here, Bearable Chicken, Greg, and other people as well. You guys got anything you want to say? Any shout outs or anything?
Stay
Get
free.
them,
Stay
get
free.
them, Tony. Get them, Tony. Yeah, I was just gonna say this. Look, here's the thing. For those of us that have been in this asset class for quite some time, I mean, the reality is, with the price action these last couple days, nobody's scared. We've been here, we've seen it before, and I think that, the reality is, you know what you hold. You've done the work. You know what utility is. You know what memes are. You know how to make money. You understand the concept of, return on investment. What I would say to all of you is, just tread lightly, be smart. Not financial advice, but just be smart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and to add on to that, like, don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable. Constantly research what you're doing. Research everything. Like, just don't get comfortable, especially in crypto. Like, just don't get comfortable. Like, always be vigilant, always be aware, figure out what's going on, because you could, God knows, you can just end up, you can end up way ahead, or you can end up upside down. And for the love of God, don't leverage trade right now.
Yo, guys, you saw my disclaimer in the beginning of the video. I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna head out. Thanks for joining Joe Schmo Network. I'll be posting really soon the replays and everything on YouTube, and also on X.